Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you join us here on Rwanda Television News. My name is Gloria Mutesi. Now today at Urugwiro Village, His Excellency President Paul Kagame received Mr. Nicholas Adalbath, the founder of Norsken Foundation, Europe's largest hub for impact and tech entrepreneurs, is now building Norsken East African Kigali, which is set to host over 1,000 entrepreneurs. The Norsken Foundation is a Swedish organization that helps investors in the public sector to deal with major global challenges, including hunger, pandemics, and more. On the same note, President Paul Kagame also received Herbert Onyewumbu, the managing director of Access Bank PLC Group, at Urugwiro Village today. In other news, the Ministry of Health has warned that COVID-19 cases are on the rise, and analysts have been saying that yet another wave of coronavirus infections could arrive in the coming days if people do not take precautionary measures more seriously during this summer. Ethan Tashovia has the details.
In the Kigali Special Economic Zone is where all arriving COVID-19 vaccines are stored before being dispatched to health facilities across the country for vaccination program. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, accompanied by officials from the World Health Organization, are visiting the facility to understand how COVID-19 vaccines are stored and transported to health facilities across the country. A new phase of vaccination began this week with the focus on people aged 65 and above. Despite the ongoing vaccination campaign, recipients of the jabs are being educated about the need to continue adhering to set health guidelines, at least until everyone is inoculated. I know that even one who is vaccinated may be infected or infect others who are not yet vaccinated. I'm going to continue practicing precautionary measures, such as wearing face masks properly. I'm very happy because health professionals came to remind us of the importance of continuing to observe precautionary measures to make sure that I don't infect other people. Masaka Hospital Director Dr. Halindifra Jandamasen says the vaccination program is going on well. There are no issues so far. The public is being educated about SOPs and the response has been good. Minister of Health points out that in the past 2 days it's been observed that the number of COVID-19 infections have risen again. Earlier this month, there were more than 50 people, but Tuesday's figures confirmed that 127 new infections and 4 coronavirus deaths were registered in the country. The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, explains the reason for this increase in new infections. I think the numbers that seem to be going up are largely due to the increased screening, but also in the recent days we tested many people who crossed into the country from the neighboring DR Congo, and that the fact that some activities were allowed to resume operations in order to boost the economy, it could be as a result of the increase. The cases are still low, but we keep a close eye on it. There's a limit we need to know. If we get more than 100 people every day for several consecutive days, it means there is a problem. On Monday this week, Rwanda Biomedical Center launched another drive and walk through COVID-19 street testing survey in Kigali. In 5 days, 2,000 samples will be collected in Kigali and its suburbs. The survey will help health authorities understand the prevalence of the pandemic and inform response efforts. Minister Ngamije says people should continue to abide by the set health guidelines, stating that the pandemic continues to claim lives. We are closely monitoring the situation to find out how much capacity we have in hospitals to take care of the sick people should the cases continue to increase. We've come here to see how the vaccination program is going because we feel vaccination is a lasting cure. What we are asking the people, especially those that we are vaccinating, is to feel comfortable with the jobs. People are to keep in mind that the pandemic is not going away because we have not even reached 10% of the people who should be vaccinated. So people should be patient, at least until we've vaccinated up to 50% of those we need to vaccinate. Until then, we can come up with the new resolutions that will be less costly to keep life going. Dr. Topista John Kabuteni from the World Health Organization praised the way Rwanda is behaving in the fight against COVID-19.
As we are here now to look at the progress on the vaccination, we really commend the work and the good work which is continuing to be provided through the Ministry of Health and the other partners. And really, Rwanda is a role model to other member states.
According to figures from the Ministry of Health, more than 375,000 people have been vaccinated since March with the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines. By the end of this year, Rwanda plans to receive another 3,500,000 Pfizer vaccines. The country plans to vaccinate at least 7.8 million people, or 60% of the population, by 2022. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
Many thanks, Ethan Tashiria, for that report. Now, in the next 1 month, each college of the University of Rwanda will begin to receive an independent budget and resources to manage their respective assets and staff in order to improve the functioning and management of finance and assets at the University of Rwanda. Close observers of the university suggest that the reforms could be a solution to a long-standing problem of financial and property mismanagement at the tertiary institution. Innocent Mugabo.
From 2014, when 6 colleges were merged to form one University of Rwanda, administrative powers were centralized under one University General Administration, headquartered in Kigali. Yet the day-to-day work of each college continued at respective campuses across the country. The administration of the University of Rwanda says that after realizing that this operation is outdated, it started a process of decentralizing administrative powers, according to the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Rwanda in charge of planning, Dr. Papias Musafiri Malimba.
Twasangaga ku buyobozi bukuru hariho inshingano nyinshi zihakorerwa.
We found that there was a lot of responsibility for the management relating to finance, staff, and assets management, as well as procurement. In addition, colleges will be allocated budgets that will help them meet their responsibilities as opposed to requiring money to spend on the university's top management. The General Directorate will be responsible for research and control over the use and management of its finances and assets in its colleges. Rukara Campus Administrator Shimiimana Solomon says that the changes are timely. It would take a very long time for us to get the money we asked for, and we are happy with these changes. People did not even trust us, especially those who offered us their services or products, because they knew we had no money. The other thing is that if you didn't know what you had, then you wouldn't know what to do with it. So if empowered, then one would know what to do. The Auditor General Obadia Biraro also finds that this gives hope for resolving the problems of mismanagement of finances and assets that seem to be a long-standing issue at the University of Rwanda.
An organization,
it's a complete organization. It gives them the power to solve problems. If the business is in Butare, then let it be done in Butare. Then we can get the efficiency needed. We move to Huye, Rukara, and that's where we do our audit from. So I believe that if done this way, then it will be a solution. The proposed reforms by the administration of the University of Rwanda must first be approved by its board of directors, and if nothing changes, they will be implemented by the end of July this year.
Now, the National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide advises the district administration that special attention should be paid to the preservation of the genocide memorials at district level. This was said during a consultative meeting between the Senatorial Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security, together with various institutions, on the process of merging genocide memorial sites across the country. During a consultative meeting by the Senate Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security, and several stakeholders on exchanging views on the merging of district genocide memorials in the southern province, some district officials revealed that there are some memorials that can't be merged because of their unique history, while others should be shifted because of various obstacles they've been facing. It's a challenge we have. What is evident is that we don't have enough knowledge on preserving bodies and genocide evidence. For all these memorials, we haven't been able to put together the exact records, and yet We have all the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, especially in this area. Dr. Bizimana Jean Damascene, the Executive Secretary of CNLG, says that while research is being conducted about the history of the genocide against the Tutsi in different districts across the country, this research should be based upon for district officials to determine which memorials should be merged. He, however, says that genocide memorials in various government institutions shouldn't be merged because they are unique.
Jenoside yakozwe muri yahoze ari Izari Rubona ubu ni RAB.
What used to be Izari Rubona is now RAB. Even though it has less than 1,000 bodies of genocide victims, it's a special memorial because the director of that institution at the time was one of the Interahamwe militia. So merging them would take away the way how government institutions were used in committing the genocide against the Tutsi.
In order to make this process seamless, the Senatorial Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security calls for the participation of the people in the dialogue so that this program can be fully understood and for history to be preserved. The chairperson of the committee also says that when memorials are merged, that place that used to host the genocide memorial should have a special mark left.
Where these memorials will be moved from, there should be evidence that remains behind as a memorial too. So when people come, they will know the history of that place and the history of the genocide against the Tutsi.
The committee on September 2020 found that the process of merging genocide memorials still had a number of challenges, including the fact that survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi have not yet fully accepted the whole process, saying that their history will be shifted to another place, as well as the fact that districts have not clearly indicated the number of memorials to be merged and which ones won't. In other news, Rwanda has launched the campaign to have Nyungwe National Park to be listed as a World Heritage Site for its unique flora and rare habitats, including endangered species of birds. Cultural and historical experts say that adding Nyungwe National Park to the World Heritage list will bring Rwanda many benefits, including more recognition.
It was in 1972 that Rwanda signed an international treaty to protect and preserve the culture and historical sites included in the World Heritage List. Since then, Rwanda has not had any site listed as a World Heritage Spot. Nyungwe National Park is unique in that it is the source of the Nile and has many rare species of animals and birds in the world, so it should be listed on the World Heritage Site, according to Albert Mutesa, the Secretary General of the Rwanda National Commission for UNESCO. It is a special national park because of its beauty and hosts a variety of special biodiversity, which is why it should be added on the World Heritage Sites. Nyungwe National Park is one of Africa's oldest mountain rainforests and hosts a network of rare species of biodiversity, which would make case for its featuring on the World Heritage Site, according to Dode Hohuna from the UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
The first one is to be able to show that the site is meeting at least one of the criteria of the World Heritage list. The second one is to ensure that the site has its integrity well protected, and the third pillar is, of course, the management of the site. The site should really be well managed.
In January 2019, Rwanda applied for the listing of selected national genocide memorial sites to be included on the World Heritage Sites. These include the Kigali Genocide Memorial in Kigali, Bisesero Memorial in Karongi District, Nyamata Memorial Site in Bugesera District, and Murambi in Nyamagabe District. François Xavier Ngarambe, Rwanda's ambassador to France and UNESCO representative for Rwanda, said that although the memorials have not been approved, adding Nyungwe National Park to the list is of great benefit to Rwanda. It makes Rwanda known for even better things and not the bad history of poverty and the genocide against the Tutsi. Rwanda has become a welcoming, beautiful country that protects the environment. Since the Nyungwe Forest became a national park in 2005, locals that were involved in legal activities, including poaching and beekeeping, have been helped to set up legal income-generating activities linked to the park. This has helped the park become one of the top tourism sites in the country. So far, there are 1,100 221 different places listed on the World Heritage List around the world, including 213 national parks, 869 cultural sites, and 252 special sites. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
In other news, the Ministry of Education has confirmed that teachers have a right to impose reasonable sanctions if students misbehave. However, teachers cannot punish or impose corporal punishment, including whipping learners. This follows after an increase of indisciplined behavior among students continues to increase across schools. Gabi Muvunyi with the details.
Following rules, whether at home or at school, is what education experts believe every student should strive for. However, some students have chosen not to. According to some educators, indiscipline among students continues to increase in schools.
We recently had a problem where one of the students threw a maize cob at the teacher whilst he was writing on the blackboard, though the one who was eating the maize isn't the one that threw it to the teacher. This was after one of the students told him he is tired and wanted to distract the teacher and went ahead to hit the teacher.
Corrective measures here are that, for example, if you find a child involved with smoking, anything, that one is a straight suspension from school. Yeah, we suspend them from school depending on if it is a repeat performance or it is a first offender. There's a way in which that works, but if you're a first offender, we can give you maybe 1 week at home and see how that works around. You come back, we continue to monitor you. If it is repeated, we give what we call indefinite suspension, but even on that, we are able to recall where we can, and it works very well for us. Because again, if a child is involved with so much of this, then they need help beyond our level. They need maybe somebody to take them to some rehab or something like that. But we have not come to that stage where we need somebody to go to a rehab.
Some of the students at Rivera High School said there is a possibility that some students may have issues with teachers. They say that this kind of behavior is disrespectful.
The indiscipline cases we have involve people making noise. Sometimes people are late out of coming off the dorms. And in school, we have only specific areas where people can eat. So when you eat outside those places and you leave your garbage there, that can become a problem. And usually what happens is when you break the rules, you're asked to write a statement. So within the statement, you write what you did, like whatever mistake you've made, and what actions you're going to take going forward. And if you reach a point where you have written 3 statements, you'll be asked to go home.
The teacher. In this school, teachers usually like to understand the case first before acting. So if you understand the case first, you can act after. That's what I'm saying. So if the child is sat down with the teacher and they talk, they will come to a conclusion on which kind of punishment they will have to get. As you have heard, if you write more than 3 statements, you should go home because it has reached your time. 3, you're done.
Sister Seraphine Kaitesirgwa, a therapist, says the root of these problems is that parents no longer have time for their children. Nowadays, parents are barely present in their children's lives. They show up once a week, in which when they go home, they often find their children are asleep. In this case, children are left to the housekeepers at home. Are they the ones to discipline and take care of them? There are also those that take care of their children by letting them watch television all the time. That is where things begin to go downhill. The Minister of State for Primary and Secondary Education at the Ministry of Education disagrees with educators who say they're not allowed to punish students for misconduct. However, they are not allowed to whip the students.
One common practice is for the schools to temporarily send the students home and ask them to come back with their parents. And this is a way for the schools to have parents engaged in the education of their child. And this is something that we have seen working, and it has positive results, because if parents are involved, when they come, we engage them in a conversation, and they actually help the schools discipline their kids. So, but there is also another case where a student can be expelled from a school, and this is where a student has committed a serious offense. For instance, if they have beaten someone, and this is something that can actually be punished by laws outside of schools, and we have actually seen some of the students being referred to other organs that are in charge of correction. So this is something that also can happen.
The Ministry of Education says that this issue has not gone out of hand, although the ministry acknowledges the students' behavior is very important to achieve the desired step to the future. Gabi Muvunyi for RTV.
Thank you, Gabi Muvunyi, for that report, and that's definitely an interesting school of thought. Well, in other news, this Wednesday, war veterans in Kanombe sector were given computers granted to them by President Paul Kagame with an aim to develop them and to help them cope with advancing social life. Take a look. Those that became disabled during the liberation struggle who have been given computers say they are going to benefit a lot from different technologies and make proper use of them. Retired Lieutenant Joseph Sabena says he's grateful that he will also keep up to date with the latest technologies.
I thank His Excellency the President for championing this agenda of embracing technology. Once you embrace this, your ways change too. And for this we are grateful. We will use them effectively and our mentalities too will change.
Brigadier General John Bagabo, the Commissioner of the Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission, asked those that were given computers to use them to better their lives and those around them.
You deserve to also support others who I believe need the support as well. And I believe you can be partners instead of being called beneficiaries. And it would make us happy that you have made productive what you have been given. Perhaps you could find ways to earn from them and form a cooperative that teaches people how to use computers, like a 2 or 3 months course.
Eugene Mussolini, the representative of persons with disabilities in Parliament, who also advocated for these computers to be given to them, acknowledges that this indeed will help the war veterans develop themselves.
We looked for them and gave them to the Commission, given it has members in different parts of the country, including Rubavu, Huye and Nyagatare, where we distributed phones and installed for them internet and other parts of the country. Now that we have given computers, the Commission will look for business opportunities for people who are disabled so that they can develop themselves.
26 computers were given to war casualties from the liberation struggle in Nyarugunga cell, with the rest coming in line.